Can you buzz your lips? Don't worry if you can't. It takes lots of practice. Let's try together. Ready? Buzz! Why do you think we are buzzing our lips? It's because today we are talking about the brass family of instruments. Musicians that play brass instruments have to buzz their lips. Why do you think they do that? The buzzing is how they make a sound. Brass instruments are wind instruments that are usually made of brass. They need air, the breath from a person, to make a sound. Musicians buzz their lips into a mouthpiece, causing air to vibrate through the instrument and produce sound. It looks so simple, but it takes a lot of practice to be a good brass player. Musicians can change the pitch by changing their embouchure, the shape of their lips. Say that word with me. Embouchure. A tighter embouchure like this will make a higher pitch. A looser embouchure will produce a lower pitch. Brass players constantly adjust their embouchure while they play so they get every pitch just right. The other way to change the pitch is with the valves or slide. Most brass instruments have either valves that can be pushed or a slide that moves in and out to change the pitch. Those give the player a whole range of pitches to use. If all brass instruments are played the same way, what makes them sound different? There must be something. Brass instruments are basically a long brass tube with a bell shape at the end. So what makes the instruments sound different from each other? It's the length of the tube. If you stretch a trombone out straight, it is 9 feet long. Even more amazing? The French horn tube is around 18 feet long when it is uncoiled. You would never know by looking at it that the French horn is longer than most cars. Why do you think the instrument's tube lengths are all different? Why not just make them all the same? Oh, interesting ideas. Having different length tubing means each instrument can play a different range of pitches. The trumpet is one of the smallest and highest pitched brass instruments. Its tube is about 6 feet long. The tuba has about 16 feet of tubing. It is one of the largest and lowest brass instruments. It can play really low. Wait. The smaller instrument plays the higher pitches, and the larger instrument plays lower. Why does that sound familiar? Oh, that's just like the string family. String instruments can play higher or lower based on their size and the length of their strings. But brass instruments don't have strings, so it's the length of the tube that matters. So, what kind of timbre do you think we will hear from these instruments? Maybe it will be brassy? Okay. Maybe that is a bit too generic, but seriously, what kind of timbres will we hear from brass instruments? Do you remember what characteristics of an instrument influence the timbre? Right. The materials, how it's played, and the size. I wonder if we can predict the timbres of a trumpet and a tuba based on what we know so far. Let's go through this. Okay, what material are the trumpet and the tuba made from? Yep, they're both made of brass. How are they played? Right, air has to be buzzed into them. What about their size? You got it. The trumpet is small and the tuba is large. The length of their tubes is different. Here are some common words used to describe the timbres of brass instruments. Bright, deep, vibrant, rich, broad, and ringing. Which words will fit best with the sound of a trumpet? How about a tuba? In your guided notes, try to predict which of these words will go with each instrument. Pause the video to make your predictions. Press play when you are ready. Ready? Excellent. We'll listen to both instruments and compare what we hear. Here's a trumpet. Interesting. Okay, here's the tuba. That's really different. Do your predictions match what you heard for each instrument? The trumpet's timbre is often described as bright, vibrant, and ringing. The tuba has a unique sound that's described with words like deep, rich, and broad. How did you do with your predictions? Were you surprised by what you heard, or were you able to predict the timbres based on the instrument's characteristics? Nice job! So, what do you think? Want to keep practicing your lip buzzing? Maybe you could be one of the next great brass players. If the brass family doesn't interest you, don't worry. We've got one more instrument family left to check out in our next lesson. See you then, musicians!
Hey, hey.